Gautam Sinha Roy of Motilal Oswal also joins into this conversation. Gautam, hi, afternoon. What is your take on the Nifty and that actually in line with or in a combination with the earnings that we've seen from yesterday all the way to today, the likes of ONGC, SAIL, JSPL?
I think Nifty continues to seek direction, and fresh cues can come from the budget, which would be the next big event for the market. Other than that, we're also seeing some sectoral rotation this year. As you rightly pointed out, oil and gas is one of the sectors where we are seeing some good quality developments happening, including diesel price hikes and likely gas price hikes. So that's the sector that we'd be constructive on. Also, IT could be a red herring. There could be demand acceleration for IT services. That's another sector we'd like to look at currently. Also, telecom, as has been discussed often, is another sector where we could see profitability improvement happening this year. So these are some of the sectors which are key takeaways in terms of positives for us from the result season, as well as the developments that have happened so far this year.
Gautam, hi, afternoon, and thanks for joining in on the show. Are you expecting to see a pre-budget rally at all? And if yes, what kind of upside do you think this market could see from the current levels?
Not right now. We don't see any strong reason for a pre-budget rally. But talking about the budget, one thing that the FM has done really well is set expectations in terms of looking at fiscal consolidation. So normally what one could have expected in a pre-election year budget was some sort of expectations about populism coming into the budget and all that. But thankfully the expectation has been set, and hopefully it will be delivered according to the same lines. So that means that the budget doesn't by itself become a big event, but whatever the FM does in the budget in terms of supporting growth, which is the key aspect we are looking at currently, would be critical. Other than that, we don't think that the budget could give many other indicators for the market to move up.
Vijay, it seems afternoon firstly, but it seems like Thursday is going to be a very heavy day in terms of earnings. We have the likes of Tata Motors, SBI, and then the smaller companies such as LIC Housing Finance reporting numbers as well. Any thoughts in terms of what your key pick would possibly be on something on numbers out on Thursday?
Well, LIC Housing clearly, because there I think the risk is very little. They have been really improving their NIM, and they have been hitting the mid-market in homes, which is where I think the solid action is, the genuine end users of homes. And if you see the way they've got the funding done and got their NIM slowly up, close to HDFC levels, I think it's a very good story. The parent, of course, is good. So I think in a time when people are getting very scared about mid-cap stocks, this is, I think, a good mid-cap stock which one can do a pre-result buying.
That's actually seen quite a bit of a pickup today, so up about close to 2%. Many other stocks are moving well. Karnataka Bank has seen a sudden surge. That stock is up almost 8%, and the volumes are really picking up on Karnataka Bank. I don't know the reason behind that, but in the last 10 minutes or so, that stock has just sort of got wings. Strides Acolab too is up almost about 6.5% or so, and you do have some pickup that you're seeing in many names like Kingfisher Airlines, Shrey Noj, etc. in the broader markets that are looking quite good. So let's just take a break from our conversation with our guests and go across to our team of researchers who are standing by to tell us what stocks we've missed during the day and the reasons behind the big buzz. Nigel, Pragya and Ushang join us. So we'll start off with you, Nigel, and then we'll head across to Ushang and then Pragya.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sonia. The stock that I'll be talking about would be Strides Acolabs, and the stock has been one of the most, it's been moving in directions down and up also. So we did see the other day the stock did crack around 10% in a single day, but today the stock's bounced up around 6% on reports that Pfizer indeed is in advanced stage to buy Strides Acolabs. Their Agila unit. Now, importantly, the unit, as per what reports did state, is that they'll be looking at 10,000 crore plus for this particular unit. The market cap of Strides itself is around 6,000, 7,000 odd crores. So a clear premium that they would be paying. However, it's only the deal, if it does go through, would be around 8 times the Agila units FY12 earnings. So that was around 1,300 odd crores. But all the same, it doesn't look that expensive. Keep in mind that About Laboratories bought Piramal Healthcare around 3 years ago for around 8.7 times. So the deal, it'll be remain to see whether it goes through. But as for reports suggest, they are in advanced stock. That's it from me. Ushang, over to you.
Well, thanks. HT Media was another stock which came out with the numbers today. It gained around 4.5% in today's trade, and the numbers which were here were pretty strong set of numbers, and the operation performance also for the quarter was pretty much strong. The company continues to expand in its Mumbai and UP region business, as well as it has retained its leadership in Delhi, Bihar, and Jharkhand markets. Looking at the top line of the company, it came in around 4.5% higher at 547 crore versus 524 crore. Going to the net profit of the company, it gained around 12% and was recorded at 53.6 crore versus 48 crore. Other income during this quarter came in around 24 crore and versus 19 crore. Margins were seen at 16% versus 15%, more or less flat for the current quarter. Also, the consolidated numbers should not be taken from a quarter-on-quarter basis because of the seasonality of the business in the current in quarter 3. And finally, the revenue which has gained mainly from the printing business, wherein the ad revenue grew by almost 2%. And with that, Pragya, to you.
Right, thanks for that, Ushang. The stock which is surging in trade today and has reacted very positively to its numbers is Gujarat Industries Power Corporation Limited. In fact, the stock is up as I speak approximately 7% higher. Clearly, the numbers have been really strong. The company has reported a good set of numbers on the back of high availability, plant availability factor. That has increased from about 81.4%, which the company reported last year, to come in at about 95.7% this quarter. Apart from this, even the plant loading factor of the company has improved from 67% last year to come in at about 71.4% this year. Overall, the realizations, however, are a little down. They came in at just about 2.9 rupees a unit, which is why we've seen a 4.5% decline as far as the sales is concerned. Its EBITDA has surged and the margins have gone up by over 1,300 basis points to come in at about 37.5%. Has gone down very well with the stock. Even the PAT is up 4.5 odd times. The stock, it's not widely tracked. However, brokerages say that they are positive on the stock, retrade buys because of compelling valuations. Back to you.
All right, Pragya, just hold that thought. We have to cut across to the sale management, which is now addressing the press.
2012 increased by 1.2% against 6.2% growth in the calendar year 2011. The growth in steel production in China for the calendar year 2012 was 3.1% against 7.3% growth achieved for the year 2011. Growth in the crude steel production in India for the calendar year 2012 was 4.3% against the growth of 4.4% in crude steel production in India achieved for the year 2011. In India, for the period April to December 2012, India as a whole I am talking about, production was at 56.6 million ton, import of steel was 5.8 million ton, export of steel was 3.7 million ton, and the consumption of steel in India for the period April to December 2012 was 54.8 million ton with a growth of 3.9%. Now I'll come straight away to the results of our company for the third quarter. Friends, I'm very happy to announce that for the third quarter 12-13 there has been a growth of 1.8% in the saleable steel production. Our saleable steel production is at 3.06 million ton with a growth of 1.8%. There has been a growth of 5% in the sales for this period for the third quarter ended December 2012 our sales was at 2.75 million ton against 2.62 million ton for the corresponding period last year, with a growth of 5%. Our profit before tax was at 702 crore against 904 crore, with a negative growth of 22%. I will come to the factors which contributed to negative growth later. For the 9-month period, April to December 2012, there has been a growth in production of 1.5%. Our production for the first 9 months is 9.25 million ton.
All right, so that was the management of SAIL addressing their numbers. Very disappointing in terms of a performance, but that's JSPL starting to talk to the media, so let's cut across.
The movement has not been as one had anticipated. The power dispatches, in the last 3 to 6 months have been very much affected by the transmission constraints, and due to absence of infrastructure projects, the market for the steel industry has also been growing at a very, very slow rate. You would have seen the results from rest of the industry, where company after company has reported very modest increase in sale, or they have reported drop in sales volume. And this basically a confirmation that the market sentiment on the steel remains low. But I'm happy to tell you that our company, in spite of very fierce competition and limited opportunity in the market, has been able to do quite well. Our total volume for the third quarter in steel business, since our business is made of two components, we are going to take segment by segment. Let me first make general comments about the steel segment. In spite of a difficult market, our volume, sales volume in the third quarter has grown by about 16%. And in spite of very fierce market price conditions, we have been able to achieve a growth in our profit by as much as 13%. And if you take that 9 months as a whole, our total sales have increased by about 17%. Our profit has increased by about 13%. So all in all, we have done very well considering the global and the local sentiment. And as far as power is concerned, although our units have operated extremely well, the availability of the units has been very good as they have been historically, but due to transmission problems and the amount of power that we could dispatch went down dramatically. And if you see our records for the previous years, that we had the enviable reputation of delivering power equal to 100% or more than 100% of the plant load factor. But this time around, we could not dispatch in this quarter, more than 81% of the total power that we produce. And it was for reasons which are absolutely beyond our control. There were serious transmission constraints. We have been doing our best to see how those constraints can be overcome. We have already had some measure of success, but our efforts continue on that. So due to low dispatches of power, the results of the power segment got affected. And that is what also sobered down the total performance of the company in the third quarter. So the steel segment, the performance has been very good, but on the power side, that our power performance got limited due to constraints on transmitting the power to the final users. So all in all, I am very pleased, that the company has done well. We remain optimistic, cautiously optimistic for the quarters and the years to come. The endeavors will go on. I also want to take this opportunity to tell you that our plants, which are under execution at this moment, they're going strictly as per the time schedule. I'm happy that our first part of Angul steel plate mill, which is basically a steel plate mill, has got commissioned in time. It has gone into production, and we are all set to commission every other part of the Angul steel plant phase by phase, starting the early part of the next year. As far as the power projects are concerned, there again, our 4 into 600 megawatt unit being set up in Thamnar. The progress is, ahead of the schedule. and we're hoping to commission our first unit by the middle or later part of June this year. And the subsequent units will follow with a gap of 3 to 4 months. So we have all the new projects progressing as per the time schedule targeted by us, and I hope that in the year 2013-14 it will bring us a lot of good news, a lot of once they go into the commercial operation. Without taking any more time, I'm going to request my colleague, our CFO, Shri Sushil Maru, to walk you through the results. And once he has gone through his presentation, please feel welcome to ask any questions that you may have.
Yeah. Thank you. You have already got a copy of the press release, and you already have results with you. And Shopal has already given you a complete rundown of the progress of the company on various projects and the present profitability status also, and the reasons for down and fall in power and rise in steel also. But just to give you some more numbers specifically, you can see the numbers here, the 2-3 numbers are there, and in fact we can see in these numbers that the turnover of the company is 3,820 crores, with about 16% rise on a year-on-year basis last 10 quarters, and export is also rising. And the profit after tax also has gone up by about 13%. So normally what we see, the 16% rise in the turnover and 13% rise in the profits, so more or less in line with that. But if you see it on quarter and in the immediate preceding quarter, there is a fall of about 10% in the profit after tax, and that's largely because the steel prices have fallen from the immediate preceding quarter, something about 5 to 7%, and that's the reason for the fall in the profit from the immediate quarter. The capex what we have done for the, these are the standalone numbers for the industry and power. The capex what we have done for the quarter is 1,411 crores, and this kind of capex will continue in coming quarters also. For the 9 months, the profit after tax, in fact we have given 2 profit after tax, that is before.
Oh well, those are disappointing numbers that JSPL has posted, and the stock, as you can see, is down 3.5%. But it's a good reconstruction that we're seeing in the market, so we'll close above that 5,900 level. And the good part is the volumes have picked up today. Despite it being really slow in Asia, we've done more than 1 lakh crores in the latter half of trade. So we'll do one thing, we'll take a break. It'll be a good day of close, so stay with us. When we come back, we'll wrap up the day for you.
Hi, welcome back. It's actually a formidable recovery for our markets, especially for the broader markets actually. So the mid-cap index is just about down around 0.4%. So it's around a 50% recovery in terms of the losses that we were showing earlier in the day. So there are a lot of banks, or rather a lot of stocks which are showing an up move. Karnataka Bank, which is up around 9-odd%. AstraZeneca too is showing some amount of an up move at 1235 rupees. That one is up around 8-odd%. And some buying coming in the likes of Suven Life Sciences, and as well as Spark, which is the R&D firm from Sun Pharma too, is seeing some amount of buying. So that stock is up around 5-odd%. Berger Paints too showing some amount of buying, up around 5-odd% for that one as well. Gautam, what are your thoughts with regards to the banking space and basically the divergence in terms of asset quality as well as possibly earnings that we've seen in the private versus public banking space this quarter?
Yeah, I think that's a very important parameter which is coming out, that NPA formation continues in most of these PSU banks. Of course, SBI results are expected, so that would really be the bellwether stock to look at in terms of the sector trends. But overall, the space between the divergence between private sector banks and PSU banks continues unabated. But we do believe that given that the rate cycle is turning helpful, PSU banks are a bigger beneficiary both of rate cuts as well as if there is a impending recovery in the overall economy, which is what we are building in for the current year. So from that perspective, we will be continuing to be constructive on PSU banks too. In the private sector space, no doubt there are very high quality names there. ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Yes Bank too, IndusInd. which are names which we continue to be positive on, and we look to add them whenever valuations are supportive. So overall, I think this divergence is there to stay, but from a growth perspective or economic recovery perspective, PSU banks are a better play.
I heard you mention, Gautam, that you're looking at the oil and gas sector very positively. Where would you put your money in terms of individual stocks? I mean, I'm trying to understand whether it's lucrative to put money in the upstream companies, or do downstream look like a better option now?
Upstream looks to be a very direct beneficiary, given that if there are hikes and under recoveries come down, then the stocks like ONGC and even Oil India are direct beneficiaries. And we'd also expect them to benefit from the gas price hike that we're talking of. And their discussions are that the first round of gas price hikes would be for ONGC and oil, which would definitely be positive as well as a sentiment changer for these companies. Even downstream would benefit from a reduction in their working capital and better sentiment for them if there is a general increase in diesel prices in the economy. But one thing that one has to be careful about is the oil prices internationally, because we are seeing that Brent continues to be very strong. So that could really spoil the sport here. So that's something that one has to be watchful on. But otherwise, from a policy perspective, oil pricing policy perspective, the sector does look positive.
Vijay, what are your thoughts on DB Realty, Unitech, and all of the controversy that surrounded it today?
Well, it's amazing actually. One had thought that the 2G has sort of subsided, at least for general people and investors, but this was quite shocking. Of course, companies have Unitech has denied it, so we need to see. Of course, the markets has turned very, very skittish on these stocks and have sold off. So one needs to see. I mean, if these reports are true, of course, it's trouble for these companies because they get embroiled in these things again afresh. But if these reports are not true and fabricated, then probably you will see them quickly move back to the original levels they were yesterday. So I think the jury is still out on that.
Yep, almost 2,000 crores of its market value has gotten eroded in one trading session itself. So it's an 18% slide that Unitech has seen today. But let's focus on the markets. Just 2.5 more minutes before we close. Today we've seen, like I mentioned, a good amount of reconstruction after 8 days of a fall. But one must not really get carried away. This is purely a pullback from oversold territories in the market. So it could even be a feeble pullback. Only time will tell whether there is there is an arresting of the downtrend that we've seen in the last many trading sessions. But for today, it has been a positive session, no two ways about that. Before we close, Sudarshan, just a quick comment from your end. Any strategy after the Nifty closes above the 5920 level? And in terms of individual stocks, any quick calls?
Yeah, the strategy is for the day trader, short-term trader, buy Nifty calls 5900. I'm also long in the Nifty just for a couple of days. The second stock call is Reliance. You've talked about it earlier, and Reliance seems to be it's likely to lead any rally, so buying Reliance is also a good idea.
Okay, great. Reliance has participated today, so up about 1% over there. In fact, oil and gas has been very stable, so that's the key pocket that has notched up good gains and made sure the index got back to the 5920 level. ONGC, your biggest gainer, post its numbers. There were some positive brokerage calls as well that came in on ONGC. 4% up move on that stock. BPCL up about close to 2%. Reliance up about 1% or so, back at 880. And Cairn India up about 0.7%. So that's been the pocket of support. Apart from that, you do have Tata Motors ahead of its numbers that one has been making some attempts to recover. So now back closer to the 300 rupee mark. Remember, in the last fortnight, that stock has been selling off ever since the management came out with a press release on the 23rd of January stating that their numbers may see a degrowth this time around in terms of the EBITDA performance. So Tata Motors back at 300 rupees. Bharti Airtel too has provided support, so up about close to 2% for Bharti Airtel. A couple of other names like HDFC Bank, Bank of Baroda, ICICI Bank, the entire bank Nifty actually I think goes home in the green, up almost about 0.6%. So that's your list of gainers. Sun Pharma is also one of your biggest gainers today, up about 3.5%. On the downside, a quick word, it's pretty much result reactions really. The market has chosen to punish weak numbers. numbers. So JSPL down 3.5%, post a degrowth of 12% year-on-year in the profits this time around. Margins too have slipped for JSPL to 37.3% versus close to 40% year-on-year. ACC lingering impact ever since it came out with its numbers. That stock has fallen. DLF comes out with its numbers on Thursday, so let's see what that one does this time around. And a couple of other pressure pockets have been Tata Power post numbers, Cipla post numbers, again another down day for that one, and TCS too has just been that bit weak. But it's really the headline number on the index that you should be watching out for. So a 26-point gain on the Nifty and a 100-point gain on the Sensex. We picked up quite a bit from the low point of trade, and for now at least the downtrend that we've seen in the last 1 week has gotten arrested. What about the mid-caps?
Well, the mid-caps were still in the red, so there's again an underperformance with the broader markets as compared to the Nifty and the Sensex, but nonetheless it has recovered from the day's lows. So the mid-cap index goes home with losses of around 0.3% as compared to the losses that it was showing earlier in the day of around 0.8%. The advanced decline ratio still on the declining side, and that's what we've seen consecutively for at least 7 to 8 odd trading sessions. So around 900 stocks declining to 530 stocks advancing. Volumes were again the silver lining. There was not much in terms of participation considering Asia was closed, but nonetheless it was a tad above average. So we did around 1.1 lakh crore in terms of participation. Take you through a couple of key losers then. It was DB Realty and Unitech, which just did not manage to get its act together. So both these stocks were down anywhere between 15 to 18 odd percent for today's trade. They close up in the red. Otherwise, there was some amount of profit booking in the likes of Tulip Telecom. That one was down around 5 odd percent. Releases numbers later on in the week. Hindustan Copper is expected to release numbers today. That stock was soft ahead of its numbers, and something like even profit booking in the likes of MCX, BF Utilities too saw some amount of profit booking. Both these stocks were down anywhere between 4 to 5 odd percent. Otherwise, we should pull up a couple of result reactions for you. Oil India should come up for you. That one, let's see how that one closed up, down around half odd percent post its numbers. SAIL too came out with a bit of a disappointing set of numbers today, so that let's see how that one performed, up around half odd percent. And IFCI was down around 3.5% post its numbers, so that too lost some ground in today's trade. On the upside then, Karnataka Bank was up around 10 odd percent. That one saw some amount of late buying. Otherwise, there was some amount of buying in the likes of Strides Arcolab, so that one was up around 7 odd percent. Suven Life Sciences came out with a good set of numbers, so that too was up around 6 odd percent, and it took Spark with it, so that too was up around 5 odd percent. Lakshmi Vilas Bank comes out with numbers this week. That one was up around 4 odd percent. So a lot of gainers in terms of result reactions. The likes of ENIL was up around 3.5%. MMTC too is expected to report numbers this week, was pretty much steady, up around 4 odd percent. Otherwise, it turned out to be quite an interesting day in terms of a recovery for the broader markets, you'd have to say, but the Nifty and the Sensex also picked up some pace by the end of it, up around half odd percent for each of the indices. And all of this was actually no help from Europe, considering that the FTSE CAC and DAX were pretty much flat by the time we closed up trade. But Mr. Tulsian, Educomp and Orchid Chemicals, both these high beta counters are going to deliver numbers tomorrow. Any thoughts on either of these and how you'd approach these ones?
Keeping my cautious to negative view, because I don't think that one can really expect anything from the Educomp. But yes, coming on the Orchid Chemical, since they have sold their one of the division, having realized 800 crore and you know reduce the debt to that extent, has to be seen. But that is also not likely to get reflected into the results to a great extent. Maybe keeping a positive stance on Orchid Chemical from a long-term point of view, but I'm expecting neutral kind of result from the company, but definitely disappointment from Educomp.
What about Coal India, Mr. Tulsian? What are your expectations for tomorrow, and is there any trigger that could take it out of this really tight range it's been sitting on in the last 3 months?
Sonia, I don't think that the stock can really come out of this range, because that is going to continue, and the pooling pricing formula will really be the big kicker, because that has been seen a drag on the company, fearing that will put the company to a loss and all that. And the second trigger could be the increase in the production in FY14, if they bring it closer to about maybe 490 to 500 million ton, which is possible, so that will be the only trigger. But yes, coming on the results, I don't think that there will be any kind of disappointment, but I'm not expecting the tight range of the, or maybe, even if it comes with a good number, it can move to 354, 355, and if it's disappointment, then 335 to 340.
So Darshan, over the week, what sort of markers would you be watching out for in terms of cues to take a call technically on the Nifty, upside or downside?
See, on the downside, we have 5890, which is holding. and that's the level below which aggressively short positions should be taken. But I have suggested that we are probably entering into some kind of a relief rally environment, and the targets for this rally could easily be 5980 to 6000. So for a short-term trader, it would make sense to try and capture whatever he can on the upside.
Vijay, how do you think we're placed in terms of a correlation with the globe? Case in point would be today, you know, the European markets are pretty much flat, but we saw late buying, hence the Nifty ended up around 0.5%. What are your thoughts with the correlation on the Nifty or maybe our markets and the globe at this point?
Well, at least in the last 1.5 months, they've totally got de-linked from global markets. And that's not surprising because there is so much of domestic news, good and bad, that's driving the markets. We had the run-up before the bank credit policy, then we had the IIP, then we had the first GDP forecast and so on. And then, of course, we had the budget, a lot of expectation on that. So we are totally, I think, unrelated to global markets, at least for the next 1 month. And I think the key thing to watch in the next few days is really the advance decline ratio, because retail sentiment is palpably bad, and the only way we can judge that from indicators, to my mind, is the advance decline ratio. So that is heartening to see that it was at 1:3, I think, at noon, and sort of it went to 1.5, I think, at the end of the day, which was heartening. But we need to see that. We need to see a good AD line for us to breathe more easily.
Still dismal, however, 900 stocks advancing to around, rather declining to around 522 stocks advancing, and has been the case in the past many trading sessions. But that's all the time we have in terms of closing up this segment. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for joining in and taking us through the last 1 hour of trade. At this point, we'll take a break and come back.